live here in Kennedale, Texas, and we want to talk a little bit about Royalty. It's a company based out of Canada, and we're all in business, and we're all doing different companies, and that's fine. But what we want to be able to teach people is how to increase their business through either the marketing aspect of it or creating a database of people that they can market to. So Royalty is not a sales company, it's a marketing company. So what I'm gonna do today is kind of talk to you about some ways to approach people. And I'm also going to talk to you about a system, and it's called System 16. Well, when you're recruiting, I've always heard that, when you put people on your first level, and this is a uni-level program, so you can go as wide as you want to, but whenever you're recruiting people, your credibility is what builds your worth in your business. Because if you're credible, the people that you know personally will join you just because it's you. But when you're building in depth, that takes a system, because everyone has to be on the same playing field. Because if someone has a problem, you need to be able to figure out what it is and where it is and how to help them. So I'm going to go through a system that was created by Eric Worre, and everybody on this call knows Eric Worre, I'm sure. But back before he started his seminars up in Vegas, the first one he did, I purchased this system. So he gave me. Well, he didn't give it to me. I bought the audios, the videos, and everything, and inside of it was what's called the 8-step process. So I'm going to kind of skim over it, but everybody on this call is going to get it, and I want you to be able to pass this down to your team, because here's what I believe, and maybe it's just me, but I just believe this: the minute you talk to someone, you are training. You open your mouth, you're training. So it's important for you to start training immediately, because if you sign somebody up and they get in the business, the first thing they're going to say is, well, how do I do this? How do I talk to people? And you can basically say, well, you just do what I did to you. So I'm going to go through these 8 steps. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. We'll kind of open it up for questions, and then I'll go to the System 16. If we have time, I'll play the Royalty video for those that didn't get a chance to see it. But if you did, fine, we won't do it. Okay. So step 1, it says you need to be in a hurry. Now, this says this is a philosophy issue, a psychological issue, but people are always more attracted to a person who's busy and has things going on. If you start every call or face-to-face conversation with the feeling that you're in a hurry, you'll find your invitations will be shorter, there will be less questions, and people will respect you and your time much more. So I'll just kind of read one right quick. It says, I don't have a lot of time to talk, but it was really important I reached you. Okay, that could be one. I have a million things going on, but I'm glad I caught you. I'm running out the door, but I need to talk to you real quick. That's step 1. Step 2 is a compliment. Now, this is very important. This is critical. The compliment, it opens the door to real communication and will make the prospect much more agreeable to hear what you have to say. So here's an example. This is a warm market. You've been wildly successful, and I've always respected the way you've done business. Or you've always been so supportive of me, and I appreciate that so much. So you can go through all of these when you get this and read those. That's step 2. So let's go to step 3. Step 3 is the imitation. In this situation, one size does not fit all. I've provided, and this is Eric telling you, I provided a list of direct approaches which you will use when you're talking about an opportunity for them specifically. Indirect approach, which you will use to ask for help or advice, and super indirect approach, which you will use to ask people if they know others who might be interested. Most people use a direct approach for all of their prospects. Usually it's going to go something like this. I found a way to get rich, and let me tell you all about it, blah, blah, blah. I understand the passion, but really, who's going to get excited about that? Unless they're getting the call from a millionaire. And I'm not a millionaire. Now, some of you guys on this phone may be, but it's not me. As you become a network marketing professional, you're going to find that you use the indirect and super indirect approach much more. But that doesn't mean direct approach doesn't have an important place. Here's a direct approach on a warm market. Just a second. Okay, when you come on, please mute your phone. Thank you. When you told me that you needed extra money, were you serious or were you just kidding around? And wait for their answer. You say, great. I think I found a way for us to really boost our cash flow. That's one thing you can say. I found something you really need to see. That's another thing that you can say. Would you read it? If I, would you? Okay. If you've done the first 3 steps properly, the answer would be yes. If they ask for more information first, just respond with, I understand that you want more information, but all of what you're looking for is on the DVD, the CD, the printed material, or the link. The fastest way for you to really understand what I'm talking about will be to review that material. So if I gave it to you, will you review it? Now, basically what he's saying here is you got to keep your posture here, because sometimes people will ask you something and you just go ahead and spill the beans and you start talking, and now you're not giving them all the information. If they say no, they won't review it, then thank them for their time and move on. Also, review step 1 through 3 to see what you could have done better. Do not still give the information to them. Now, I'm going to stop here. Now, you see, if there's somebody on your team that's out there talking and prospecting and something is going wrong, if they get back to you, you can review these steps and find out what's going on. What did you say in step 1, 2, or 3? Okay, let's go to step 5. Step 5, you want to get the commitment. When do you think you can watch the DVD for sure? When do you think you can listen to the CD for sure? When do you think you could read the magazine for sure, et cetera, et cetera? Don't suggest a time for them. Ask the question and have them give you the time. If it's not definite, I'll try to do it sometime, then tell them, I don't want to waste your time or mine. Why don't we just try to hook up or lock in a time you'll have to see it for sure? The key is to get them to say yes a second time. Saying yes to step 4 is not a commitment. Let's go to step 6. Confirmation. You want to confirm it. If they tell you they'll watch the DVD by Tuesday night, your response should be, so if I call you Wednesday morning, you would have watched it for sure, right? If they say they'll listen to the CD by Thursday morning, so if I call you sometime on Thursday, you will have listened to it for sure, right? If they say that they'll watch the link by July the 1st, your response will be, so if I called you on July the 2nd, you would have watched it for sure, right? The key to step 6 is they're now saying 3 times that they'll follow through and they've done it all by themselves. They set a real appointment with you for the future. Step 7, get a time and number. So what's the best number and time for me to call? Now they say yes 4 times, and in the chance they'll follow through has been increased from less than 10% to over 80%. No, please put this appointment in a place where you won't forget it, because a lot of times we have an appointment set up and you go, well, I can't remember what the number is. I can't remember how to, you don't want to do that. So step 8, you get off the phone. Remember, you're in a hurry, right? The best thing to say is something like this. Great, we'll talk then, gotta run. So those are the 8 steps with tons of the hottest scripts in MLM on what to say. Now, anybody got any questions so far before I kind of go through some examples here? You guys are good. All right. We're gonna run through these, and these are some actual role plays. You'll see. Example 1 is a person that hates their job, so you use a direct approach with them. On this sheet, you can put their name, you can put their contact information. All right. So you're in a hurry. Hey, I don't have a lot of time to talk, but it was really important I reached you. Step 2. Listen, you're one of the most financially intelligent people I know, and I've always respected that about you. 3. When you told me when you told me you really didn't like your job, were you serious or were you just kidding around? Great. I think I found a way for you to create an exit strategy without jeopardizing your family. 4. I have a CD that you have to listen to. It describes what I'm talking about better than I can. If I gave you this CD, would you listen to it? 5. When do you think you could listen to it for sure? 6. Tuesday? So if I call you Wednesday morning, you will have reviewed it for sure, right? 7. All right, I'll check back with you then. What's the best number and time for me to call? Get the date, time, the number. Step 8. Great. We'll talk then. Gotta run. Thanks. Okay? Example 2, this is a good friend. This is an indirect approach. You got their name, you got their contact information. Step 1. Hey, I'm running out the door, but I needed to talk to you real quick. 2. You've always been so supportive of me, and I appreciate that so much. 3. I've just started a new business and I'm scared to death. Before I get going, I need to practice on someone friendly. Would you mind if I practice on you? 4. Great. If I gave you a DVD that laid out the information in a professional way, would you watch it? 5. When do you think you could watch it for sure? 6. Thursday? So if I called you Friday morning, you will have reviewed it for sure, right? 7. Fantastic. What's the best number and time for me to call? Date, time, number. Step 8. Great. We'll talk then. Gotta run. Thanks. Example number 3. This is an indirect approach. This is a highly successful person. Here's the way you do this. In a hurry. Listen, I know you're busy and I have a million things going on too, but I'm glad I caught you. 2. You've been wildly successful and I've always respected the way you've done business. 3. I've recently started a new business and I'm looking for someone sharp. I'm looking for sharp people. It's clearly not for you, but I want to ask you, who do you know that is ambitious, money motivated, and would be excited about the idea of adding more cash flow to their life. Now, sometimes they're going to go, me. 4, I understand that you'd want to know more before you recommend people. I have a DVD that explains exactly what I'm doing and the kind of people I'm looking for. It's brief. If I sent one to you, would you view it? 5, I know you're extremely busy, and I'm so grateful for your help. Thanks for agreeing to look at it. When do you think you could view it for sure? 6, so if I call you after that, you'll have reviewed it for sure, right? 7, all right, I'll check back with you then. What's the best number and time to call you back? Date, time, number. 8, thank you. I appreciate it so much. I'll talk to you then. Get out of there. So the last one, this is an example of the cold market prospect. All right, this cold market prospect, he's doing a fine job selling you some shoes, and this could be anything. We do this for restaurants and all kinds of places. In a hurry. You know, now is the time to get into this, and I have to go, but step 2, you are super sharp. 3, and I happen to be looking for some sharp people. Do you plan on doing what you're doing now for the rest of your career? No? Good. I have something that might interest you. 4, now's not the time to get into it, but I have a DVD that explains it all in great detail. Listen, if I gave it to you, would you watch it? 5, when do you think you could watch it for sure? 6, so if I call you after that, you will have reviewed it for sure, right? 7, all right, I'll check back with you then. What's the best number and time for me to call? Date, time, number. 8, okay, here it is. Thanks again for the excellent service, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, you guys, that is the 8-step process, and everybody's going to get it. Is there any question? You guys are really sharp, yeah. I've got it all down. Okay. This is what you want to do when you're out there talking, and you can put it in your own words, but if you read over this, I guarantee you'll start to pay attention to people. One of my mentors, his name is John Morrison. He's down in Temple, Texas. John used to train us on this when we were doing another company, and people that use this, they were very successful. And it really helps when you have a team of people that are going out and talking and they're getting messed up, and they come back and say, you know, this is not working. But go through these steps with them and find out, because there's something that they're doing wrong and you can help them with this. If we all have these same steps, this is what the system is about. Okay? All right. So I'm going to move on. The next thing I'm going to talk to you about is what's called System 16. Okay, now let me explain something before I get started. This was originally set up for home meetings, but if you look at this process, it's kind of a slow process, but webinars, it puts it on steroids. But I'm going to do it just like you were doing a meeting a week and you were training people. So we're going to go through it that way. And you're going to get this information, and you can revise it any way that you think that you could do it, because you can do it much faster than this nowadays, because with webinars, people don't have to come to your home. They can do this with anybody anywhere in the States or out of the country. Excuse me. So System 16 says this: if you want a business that lasts, build with quality. Never let your desire for rapid growth take the place of your common sense. If a leader gets lazy about recruiting, he will find himself with nothing more than a bunch of warm bodies and a million problems. Recruit people who have a burning desire to win. And we all know that's true because you can put in a lot of people, but if they're not willing to do what they need to do, you got adult daycare. And I know you don't want that. Okay, so month one, you have a Wednesday night webinar. And you have someone that you're going to train because they're interested in doing this. So Wednesday night is going to be you and Joe. You're going to bring up your Zoom. You're going to share your screen. And then you're going to thank people for coming. You're going to do the presentation, which is already recorded. You just hit play. And when it's over, you thank people for watching it and open it up for questions. That's 100%. All right. The next week is going to be you and Joe, but you're going to do 75% this time. You're going to have the webinar. You're going to share your screen, but Joe is going to thank people for coming and introduce the video. The next week, you and Joe are going to do 50%. You're still going to have the webinar. You're going to open up your Zoom, share the page. Joe's going to thank people for coming, introduce the video, and after the video is over, Joe's going to thank people for being there and open it up for questions. The last week, Joe's going to have his own Zoom. He's going to share his own screen. He's going to thank people for coming. He's going to introduce the video. He's going to thank them for coming. And then he's going to open it up for questions. That's month one. Now, month two, now Joe's trained. So Joe is going to start a Friday night meeting. So Joe came from your Wednesday night webinar. So Joe has a lady named Mary. So Joe's going to be working with Mary. He's going to do the same thing. Joe's going to do 100% the first week. The second week, Joe's going to do 75%. Mary's going to do the intro. The next week, Joe's going to do 50%. Mary's going to do the intro, thank you, and open it up for questions. The fourth week, Mary's going to do everything. So she's got 100%. She's got a Zoom up. She's got a whole thing going. Now, you're working with Stu, and you're going to be going through that same process with Stu, all right? In month three, Stu is a trainee. So Stu came from the Wednesday night webinar. So Stu has his training. He's going through the same process for that month. And Thursday, Mary came from Joe's Friday night webinar. So now Mary has a trainee, and she's taking him through the steps, through the whole week. So now what you have 16 meetings going on. So you're now working with Beth. You filter everything to the main, we'll say Tuesday night, wherever the main meeting with all of the big leaders, you always filter it to that webinar, okay? You now have 16 webinars going after 3 months, 16. What happens on month 4? You got 32 webinars going on. What happens in month 5? You got 64 webinars going on. What if you got a group right now and you've got somebody that's capable of starting their own webinar initially, and you start your own webinar, and each of you take a trainee? You had 16 webinars at month 2. What if you have a webinar and you have 3 trainees that are ready to start on their own? And all 3 of them are going to take their own webinars the next month. Too much, you have 16 webinars. You start to think about the power of webinars, and you don't have to think about bringing people to your home, as well as these people can be anywhere in the world. These are the 5 P's. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Now, I also have this, and I'm going to send this, and I got to figure out how to get it in the chat. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can get from my C drive. I'll figure that out. Just send me your number, and I'll text it to you. Some of you got my number, but my number is 817-233-3964. It's 817-233-3964. 3964. I'll put it in the chat. Hold on a second. 3964. And I'll send that to you. Did I do it? No. 172333964. Okay. I'm just going to put that out there. All right. All right. So does anybody have any questions so far? I know I can't be that good. Okay. Now I'm going to bring someone on the line that's a special person to me because she's been in sales for a long time. She's a trainer. She's a sales trainer, and she's out of California. She's in the Royalty Group, and her name is Miss Colleen. And Colleen is going to kind of talk to you and tell you about, where she came from, how she started in sales, and kind of give us some tips on what we need to be doing on the sales side, because royalty is a marketing side. And like I say, we're all good at something. I'm not good at that side that she's in, but I want to introduce to you guys Miss Colleen. So Miss Colleen, would you come on and kind of tell the people about you and a little bit about what we need to know on the sales side?
Absolutely. Thank you, Clyde, and thank you so much for having me. This is amazing that we get to share our knowledge and our talents with each other. I love that. And you did an awesome job, by the way. I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh. I mean, I teach a lot of what you just went over. And, it's kind of funny. We all have a little different way of kind of teaching, a little different way of identifying certain things. But let me just go back. I went to school way back, instead of starting from my birth year. How about that? I'll start from college. I went to school and majored in psychology. I wanted to do family counseling. And then I went to school also to have my cosmetology license to work in the line of being a mortician. So I actually encountered a fear, believe it or not. And the way I got into, at that time was called MLM, which we now refer to as network marketing. The way I got into multi-level marketing was when I encountered that fear, I said, I want to meet it head on. So I simply just jumped out and contacted a multi-level marketing company and said, do you kind of teach and show and this? And they said, yeah, we do. And I said, sign me up. How'd you like a recruit like that? Then what began to happen is I was so intrigued after conquering my fear that I actually took my knowledge of psychology and began having fun joining other companies of network marketing companies and watching how these companies worked and what they were teaching people, and seeing the ones that had similarities, or that they were missing the boat, or there were pieces not quite there that could help people to achieve those statuses, and took it with my psychology degree into the psychology of sales, because psychology is something that doesn't change. And most people are shocked to find out we all buy the same way. Now, fast forwarding, I've had some fun, and I've broken a lot of records from driving 3 pink cars in the Pink Car Company and stuff like that there, and breaking records and putting a lot of people in an organization in record time. My fun has come in my industry as I've been able to step into the coaching arena, and I can be found on callthebizpro.com. And callthebizpro.com allows you the ability to literally get free training and tips weekly from me right there, because I love to give back to our industry. And for those who are serious about learning and mastering not just network marketing, but the art of sales, you might find those tips to be very useful. As to what you kind of learned here today, I do want to highlight a couple of key components that you talked about today. It was very important. What you do duplicates. Do it right or do it wrong. Either way, it duplicates. So it does make sense to have a system and a formula to follow to make sure that you're duplicating yourself and yourself correctly, that your team becomes productive and that you can produce and become duplicatable. A lot of people have never experienced success in network marketing because they kind of don't know how that works. And a lot of people, as Clyde, as you said, there's a lot of people who have different genres. We all have our different lanes and our specialties that we do. We all have places we shine. So why cross over into a lane that doesn't belong to you? If you're a trainer and a coach and a teacher and you can do that, then it's smart to get your team being trained, coached, and taught in the same way. So I like to say we're all doing our checkbooks the same way. We're not causing pandemonium. We don't have 50,000 leaders doing it different ways. That's the beauty, I think, about part of this team and what you see with the people here in this company. They're willing to share because you know what? If we're all doing the job well, we're representing not just ourselves, but we're representing the company. And so we all look good when we're all working together in that fashion. So I have to give props for that. What you first explained about when you were talking about the 8 steps, I call that the PS3. And I try to teach people, there's people that come into network marketing and we're marketing, that's true, but we also are leading people to a sales process. And since Justin is not different from knowing this is marketing, but we need to know how to make sales happen. Part of this process is so key. If you learn, we're actually talking to people subconscious and conscious in everything we do. So certain things, I teach good words, bad words, because the wrong words create the wrong picture and give you a reaction where you say, wow, I didn't get the reaction I wanted. I didn't get the results I wanted. So there's things that you need to learn about. There's a foundation that has to be laid basically in this industry. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's like a New Year's resolution, right? It's not just for the 30, 60, or 90 days. It is for an entire year to make those changes. So I think that's important to learn those foundations. So this outline's really good, and I call it a PS3. And just to kind of overlap on the training, let's have a little fun with that. I have 3 P's, 3 S's, and a 3. So watch how simple this is. I love the fact, it looks like Eric and I are almost on the same page on this one. A P is that you have to have a prospect, right? Then the next thing you have to do with that P, that prospect, is pique their interest. And if you pique their interest properly, just as Clyde was going through this process, he talked about the compliment and the conversation. See, that's making the heart connection. That's piquing their interest in understanding more about them. Spend more time with your prospect rather than worrying about the dollars and the sales that you're trying to create. Spend more time invested in them to get a better outcome. And then P is the permission. You need to have their permission to market. If they give you their permission, they're ready to go to the next step. So it's almost like making the sale before the sale. So with your permission, if I were to send this over to you, would you be willing? And it slides right into the if would you. Would you be willing to? So I sometimes ask, hey, if I would ask you to take a look at something that my partners and I are doing or that a system that we've set up, would you give me your honest feedback? With your permission, if I sent you over the link, would you give me your honest feedback? See how that works? So the permission then comes, sure. So if they're going to do that, you move to the next step. And then here comes my S's. S is to set the appointment. Before you ever send information, it's set the appointment. So you set the appointment by saying, so if I sent this over to you, it'll take approximately, tell them how many minutes. And then say if it takes approximately 20 minutes for you to look at, when could you set aside 20 minutes to do this? Now get them committed to a time. So if they say, well, I think I could do that by 7 o'clock tonight, throw them in a time. Even if they say I could do it tonight, give me a time. So whatever time they say, when they tell me, well, 7 o'clock, I'm going to do something very powerful and psychological here. When I tell them, let me do this. Let me send you a reminder at 7 o'clock and call you at 7:30. That way you have that good 20 minutes in case you didn't get a chance to get it done. I'm now giving the gift of time. And most people, their first reaction is like, oh, that'd be great. Okay, that's how you want them to reply. You want them to really get that great feeling that you're doing, right? So this is important. So now that I've set the appointment, if set your follow-up, you don't have to chase your prospect. Another S is to now send the information, I promise. And so I'm not going to go through the in-depth training, but of course you do have to know, am I texting it or am I emailing it? You have to know. So there is part of that. There's a process in this, but I call it my PS3. And then the S, by the way, is to send the information to my mentor or coach that I work with. So if I have an appointment at 7:30, I am going to send that same information and say to Clyde, I have a 7:30 appointment. Will that be available in your calendar? And he just gives me a thumbs up. And so about 7:30 PST, he's looking for, at his time zone, he's looking for my call to come across. And the 3 is the three-way call. And there is a way of magically bringing in that three-way call together. Now, I do this PS3 training, which is just like his 8 steps, if you think about it, right? Get a prospect, pique their interest, get permission to market. Set the appointment, send the information, and then send the reminder to follow up. And then do the three-way call. Do you see how those 8 steps and these my steps of PS3 fit together? So Clyde, you're right on target. I mean, this is amazing. And then the key words and things to say of those 16 things that you heard, I want you to know, I cannot stress that what Clyde said when he said, when you start talking to somebody, you're training. And if you're doing it right, you're showing them how to do it, and they're going to emulate and do what you do. And the nice thing is, when you do a system and systematize what you do, you don't be the message anymore. You don't have to be the message. The system does the message. The presentation does the message. Your webinar does the You're just the messenger. Just tell them how to get there. And that makes the sales process very easy. And your prospects can then say, you know what? I can do this. Instead of somebody who has to have all of the knowledge and all of the facts and tell about all of the and throw up on them, then the prospect says, I can't do this, right? So simple and duplicatable is the process to making these steps work. And then I love the idea when you come into the last part that Clyde was showing. I just want to reiterate that too. He did it a little different way with the 50%, 75%. I say it like this. I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to do it for you, but with you, okay? I'm going to do it for you. Then we're going to do it together because I'm going to teach you how it's done and you're going to do part of it. That's the 75. Then I'm going to watch you do it and be there to guide you. So you're not alone, right? Nobody wants to be alone. And then the next thing is you're going to do it. And then I'm going to lift up and edify him or her to that person so that people know, oh my gosh, this is a team. They work together. And in working together, that makes it everybody wants to be a part of a team. Nobody wants to join the Lone Ranger. So it's crucially important to utilize the talent and the team of the people that we have around us to be able to do this. I call this process pass the baton, that everybody has to know when they start out. I love to get people started and spray them down with NIOP repellent, the negative influence of other people, because they think they know things they haven't spent the time to learn. So prepare your prospect not to go out and the new people coming in, once you know what they want and what they want to do, listen carefully. Do not do for other people what they can do for themselves. If they're not willing to do it with you and beside you, don't do it for them. Do it with them. And that's the theory you want to work. That's my so-called resolution for the entire year this year, is to very simply let people know, if it's something I can do with you, I'm there. If it's something I have to do for you, you either have to be with me while we're doing it, or you've got to do it for yourself. But I will not cripple people by doing things for them that they can do for themselves. You want to make sure that you strengthen your group that way. So those are some key things that came up that I was thinking about. And I just want you to know, in the sales process, you have not got to take the dollar signs out of your eyes when it comes to selling, because we do want to make checks. But listen, when you put your time into learning how to relate to people, build relationships with your prospects, you'll build the trust, and the next thing you know, the money will follow. So it works. I love to say there's heart people in this world and there's dollar people. And money people, they only want to do things when it involves getting paid or getting money for it. You see the heart right here of your support line is about putting out and giving from the heart to help you to grow. That's the kind of people you want to be with, because money will follow that. And definitely have your goals and know what you want to do. When you're trying to systematize what you want, I teach people how to make mini systems, little systems that work every time. Like when you're doing your checkbook, or when you get up in the morning and you're just getting ready to start your day, or little tiny systems. baby steps along the way. So you can back into your year. You can set goals and say, this is what I want this year, but back into it like you do when you set a wedding date and say, this is when we're going to do this by, but here's what we need. These are the things we need. And you backward into it. And it takes baby steps to get there and accomplish that great big goal. So don't overwhelm yourself. We have a lot to teach, a lot of great stuff to give. And it's going to be fun when you get to learn these little bite-sized pieces. It gets you excited to go to those next trainings because they're implementable pieces that you can put in your business and that you can start to say, oh my gosh, doing those things or saying this way gets me results in and those little systems that we were just taught like today, this little it would benefit you greatly to go back and watch that and write it out and know that this is now called a pipeline process. This is how you do it every time. And just like an actor, you do it each time and better, and you follow your script until you master it and it becomes second nature. So just because you try it once doesn't mean that it doesn't work. Trying it again and again and getting better and better at it. And with that, there was one last thing I wanted to say. It takes time to grow, so be patient with yourself as you're growing this business and you're working it. And know that everything that you're being taught, it does work, but sometimes it takes just a little tweaking or a little help. And always know it's important for you to reach up when you want help, because your support line never knows who they can help or how we can best serve. We don't know unless you raise your hand and say, hey, I need help with this, or who can give me some assistance. So I want to tell you that I'm here as part of the team also, and you can find me on callthebizpro.com, and I'm more than happy to be there to help you. It doesn't matter, upline, sideline, downline, we're all working to find this great journey in life. And it's kind of fun when you can meet mentors and people who have done it and are willing to show you how to get it, because that's a joy for them. Because a lot of people, once they've arrived, they said, I've already done all the hard work. You figured out. So you don't have those kind of leaders here. So I hope that kind of excites you just a little bit. There's so much that was running through my head, and I've got so much I could give the talk for hours, but I hope that this has given you some great substance and it's been of value for you to hear some of this today. So with that, Clyde, I want to thank you again. I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Carlene. You always bring great value, and I really thank you for being a part of this team. There's a one other thing I wanted to tell you guys, and I got this from another millionaire. Actually, I got this from Hubert Humphrey, and I don't know if you guys know who this guy is, but back in 1989, he wrote a book, and it's called The Magic of Compound Recruiting. And one thing that he says is when you get a person in business, you look at that person and you say, welcome to the team. Can I have your best first 30 days? And if they agree to that, you ask them, will you give me permission to be your coach? And if they agree to that, you say, great, let's get your list. Those are the three most important things you can do to a person, because they already know people. And I know Royalty has great landing pages and they have all of these things. But if you already have people on a list, these people need what we have. So you don't have to run to the cold market, because I know a lot of people, we've talked to so many people to try to get them in business with us. And when they see you coming, like they hide the kids and turn the lights off and pull down the blinds because they don't want to see you. But we just got to keep moving in and in and in, because I believe that we have something now that can help everybody all over the world. We've got people in this everywhere. We have one of our top earners, he's in France. The other thing I was going to tell you before I turn it over for questions for the last few minutes, what you see on the screen here is a presentation that was put together by a gentleman named Ron Pruitt. He's out of Houston. We call him Texas. The way this happened, there was a lady a few days ago that contacted him and said, Ron, I really like royalty, but I cannot explain it. And what I want to do is take the video that you have explaining royalty, and I have a Zoom account. So what I want to do is I want to open up my Zoom, and I want to share my screen, and I want to put your presentation in my Zoom screen. And when people show up, my screen is already up with your video. I thank her for coming, introduce you in this video, and hit play. At the end, ask questions, thank them for coming. 2 days later, this lady is a platinum. She's making $2,000 a month. She did $5,000 in revenue in 2 days doing that. So I asked Ron, how in the world did it happen? She said she had a list of 1,000 folks, and she just started contacting people and brought them to the Zoom webinar, like I told you guys about System 16. She plugged them in, they watched it, they got excited, they joined. She signed up over 50 people in 2 days. I have another one of my guys in the group that I told him exactly what I told you, those last 3 things. He said, Clyde, I'm not a networker. I don't know anything about network marketing. And I told him those 3 things. He is a jade. He's almost pearl in this company now. He put in 99 people. No, he put in more than that. He put in like 110 or something like that last month. He was almost pearl. I don't know if he quite made it, but jade is $3,000 a month. That's $7,500 in revenue. So I said that to say this. You know, we have these 2 aspects. We've got our credibility and we've got the system. So if we use these things together and we help each other, we're going to make a lot of money in this company. And like J.R. and I was talking about, you get tired of not making any money and you're just writing off stuff and you're not making money. You get tired of going in there and saying, well, I didn't make anything this year. I didn't make anything last year. We're going to put a stop to that. We want to help people make money. So we've got about 8 minutes till 5. So we're going to open it up for questions. There's 8 minutes left. So I'm going to turn this over to anybody that's got any questions. If we do, we'll use these last 8 minutes. So,
hey, Clyde.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, this is Cliff. I want to commend you and Carlin. Y'all did your normal fantastic job. And this is me. That's my applause in the background. Y'all did a wonderful job and you covered all the bases. But for whomever may be new on here, could you talk briefly about how they can get their royalty for free?
Yes.
And how they can expedite the process, because after all, we are here to listen to people, and royalty is a marketing system, but you can also make money. So can you address how the new people and the rest of us can get our system for free, and the fact that there is a special going now where you can get all of your personal volume in your pocket?
Yes, I'll go through. I won't go through this big numbers or anything, but I will explain to you the people that joined from the 1st to the 15th, the revenue that you generate from the 1st to the 15th, you will receive that money back. Royalty is going to pay it back 100%. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you come in and you bring in 3 people. Well, that means you're going to be a bronze. So a bronze, you're going to be making $100 a month residual income. And you see it right here. Okay, that's your residual for bringing in 3 people. But you see up here, there's $261 in revenue. You make this by the 15th, you're going to get all that money back. You're going to get it back in 3-month increments. You're going to get 87, 87, 87. So you're going to be paid 187, 187, and 187. So let's say you do 5. So now your revenue, if you did that by the 15th, your revenue is now $435. So you're going to get all that money back. That's what Royalty is doing. They're offering it 100%. Now, we have we also have a promotion that's going now because we're going to be meeting in Miami, Florida on the 4th of April. And the way that program is going to work, it's going to cost $39 for the ticket to go. And if you make, I believe it's $500 in revenue between now and February the 28th, they will pay you for that ticket. You'll get that ticket for free. If you make $1,000 in revenue, you're going to get your ticket and you're going to get your, they have a mastermind. I think it's a 2-hour mastermind program. And if you get $2,000 in revenue, they're going to give you the ticket, the mastermind, and they're going to pay for one night of your hotel. And $3,500 between now and the end of February, they're going to pay for your ticket, your mastermind, your hotel for one night, and they're going to pay for your airfare up to $500. So that's what's going on now. I want to show you. Let's do. First of all, I'll show you what happens when you just start helping people get through. I don't want to do that. See, now you've got, this is what's amazing to me. There are 12 people in your group and you're making $365 a month residual income. I've been in a lot of companies, and I imagine some people on the line have been into them as well. But this is just crazy because you've got $1,000 revenue, and Royalty pays out 40%. They pay 40%. All that money is getting paid out. So now, if you just take this down another level, because 3 is people are just getting their royalty for free. That's all that is. So now you got a 3 levels where you're generating $70 here, and that's $435.47 a month residual income. Now I've seen people that have made that, just bonuses. But that's not bonuses. That's residual income. To me, that is amazing. And if you go here and do this 5, you bring in 5 people, they get 5 people, you're now golden. You're now making $1,000 a month. And on level 3, you're picking up $326. You're making over $1,300 a month. So if you look down here at the compensation plan, which I didn't go to, but the goal, you get 5% on level 3 and 3% on level 4. So if we go down to level 4, and those 3 people are getting theirs for free, you're now making you're making $587 a month on level 4. That's almost $2,000 a month. I'm not going to go any further than that because I didn't really plan on doing this. We'll do this in another webinar. But as you can see, there's money to be made in this company, and it's based on level 1 and 2. If you've got 5 people on level 1 and 5 people on level 2, you remember I told you the airfare is $3,500? You're at $2,600 now because it's based on your team on level 1 and 2. That total revenue is what gets you to the $3,500. That will pay for your ticket. It'll pay for your seminar, your mastermind. It'll pay for one night hotel, and it'll pay for your airfare. And all you did was brought in 5 people, help them to make money. That brought in 5 people. It's just mind-boggling to me. So I'll give it another 2 minutes, so not 3 minutes. So if you guys got any questions, feel free to ask. Okay.
Hey, Clyde, it's Empress.
Yes.
Could we verify the phrase that Carlin and yourself said it was the permission to market. What was the phrase we utilized when conversating with a prospect?
You talking about what Carlin said?
Because remember,
Okay, I'll let her answer that.
Okay.
All right, one more time. Are you talking about on the P's?
Yes. On the three, the 3SP. I mean the 3S. Yeah, hello. The 3PS.
You want to have a prospect. That's your first P. You want to pique their interest. In other words, get them excited, get them aroused. And the way you do that is by simply asking enough questions. So if I want to know, what are you doing this year? What are your goals? What are your plans? Just like he said, hey, when you said you wanted to earn extra money, were you serious or just kidding around? Pique their interest when you've got enough information. And that's the key. You have to have enough information to use the third P, which is permission to market. And when I say that, the sentence that comes along that Eric Worre refers to is if, would you? And I always tell everybody, a lot of people will jump real quick to if, would you, without enough information. And if you don't get enough of those nice golden threads sewn, your heart to my heart, our relationship, when I say, hey, if I were to send you over something to look at and could really meet the goal that you're trying to do and earn that extra income to bring in whatever amount of money you said, right? If I say all that, I say, would that be of interest to you if I sent that over to you to look at? If would you has to have enough if would you in it that hits your heart because it's the stuff you said to me. If I say it too early, it sounds like a sales pitch. And what happens is you really are not.
So is it more like an active listening? Like, you catching up with someone and then you get it, like you said, enough goals and objectives they want to accomplish throughout the year. And then that's when say, hey, if it would be, that's when I ask them, if it be possible, if I see your information, they may hit your goals and objectives. Will you want to?
Yes. A lot of people just, and just to give an example, a lot of people might do it like, let's pretend we're talking to somebody. I hate using names, but let's say we're talking to Susie Q. And she's saying, oh my gosh, my daughter wants to do dance lessons and dance lessons are going to cost blah, blah, blah. And I don't know where I'm going to get that extra money from. Say, wow, if there was something, if there was a way to get that extra money that wouldn't take too much additional energy and effort. See, that's an if would you too. If I found something that would be of interest, would you want me to tell you about it? Now, I didn't jump on her with my business opportunity, did I? I'm now feeling and paving the way that I'm going to be able to get permission to share with her later. So a lot of people jump right in to go, hey, I got something for you to look at if you want to earn some extra income. And then that person feels like yuck. It feels yucky when you do that. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it makes sense because it's like a natural casual conversation.
Thank you. It's a very simple sales process, and that's the art of sales, is learning how to do this very smoothly, like you're icing that cake without putting without having nasty looking icing, right? You want it smooth like butter. You just want to be able to roll into the next conversation and feel very comfortable with what you do. It's kind of like this. What if last week you said, oh my gosh, I would love to earn some extra cash, but I just don't have a clue what to do. And we get together, and I see you 3 days later, and I say something like this at the potluck. I go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that there's a woman who has learned how to replace her husband's income working 50% less time from the comfort of her home. It's unbelievable. Hey, pass the chicken.
Right.
You would say to me, wait, whoa. And you would stop me because you would say, wait a minute, I need to talk to you. Because what I just did is I didn't pounce on you. You're going to chase me, girlfriend. And that's what you're trying to do in the art of sales. Put just enough breadcrumbs that your prospects are coming after you and you're not hunting them down. So the art of sales of what you learned today, these little things, these are the pieces and components that lead you to becoming a masterful pro in the art of sales.
Cool.
Wow. And Clyde and I said we will go over and do little mini trainings to get you grounded in each piece of this. Isn't that exciting? We'll be happy to do that this year. That's what we're going to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
All right. We're going to do this again. I'll find a time for it. But I have another mentor that has been really great. She's good at the email campaigns and these kind of things. And I'm going to bring her on and she can kind of help you with that. Because like I say, we all have certain things that we do. And her name is Felice Ricks. And I'm going to get her on one of these calls. And we're just going to have a great time, you guys. We're going to show you